back to International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the record saying the dollars, and check it out. Y'all seen the title? You know what this is. We're not really sure what's going on in California right now, but it's a lot of politics going on. We're going to get straight off into this one. Check it out.
Edie, this is an effort that was first introduced by a Republican last year to crack down on the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. Before last year, it was a misdemeanor in California to purchase a child for sex. With the passage of last year's law, it's now a felony to purchase anyone 15 years old and younger. But now, after a fight over all of this last year, Democratic Sacramento Assemblymember Maggie Krell is trying to include 16 and 17-year-olds in that solid felony charge. Even though lawmakers want this changed, we're hearing the reason why it's not is because some Democrats are trying to honor a closed-door deal on this whole issue that was...
We're going to take this back from the top, but check it out. Apparently, they had a closed-door deal going on, and they don't... It's a choice whether to charge someone seeking services for an underage person 15 to 16 years old. And they want it to be a choice whether you get hit with a misdemeanor or a felony. First of all, we want to let you know, if you deal with anyone under the age of 18 in a sexual act, that's sex trafficking by federal law. You can receive up to life in prison. I know what they said about these state laws. They're going back and forth what to do with the state laws. Should tricks get charged with a felony if it's a 15 or a 16-year-old? California, they're going back and forth on this. But federally, you will be charged. You will face up to life in prison. My advice to you is don't do it. Leave those children alone. Leave those kids alone. Let's go.
Was first introduced by a Republican last year to crack down on the consumers of the child sex trafficking industry. Before last year, it was a misdemeanor in California to purchase a child for sex. With the passage of last year's law, it's now a felony to purchase anyone 15 years old and younger. But now, after a fight over all of this last year, Democratic Sacramento Assemblymember Maggie Krell is trying to include 16 and 17-year-olds in that solid felony charge. Even though lawmakers want this changed, we're hearing the reason why it's not is because some Democrats are trying to honor a closed-door deal on this whole issue that was made last year.
I was told that it was pulled, and the only way I could get it back on the agenda is if parts of the bill would be blocked.
Former California Department of Justice prosecutor and now Democratic Assembly member Maggie Krell disappointed by what's happened to her bill. The Assembly Public Safety Committee will not move forward with her proposal that would make it a felony to purchase a 16 or 17-year-old for sex.
Did you expect this? Are you surprised by this?
So they're proposing to make it a felony if you deal with a 15 or a 16-year-old. No questions asked. You are being charged with a felony. As of right now, it's up to them whether to charge you with a felony or to charge you with a misdemeanor. Once again, federally, you will be charged if you get caught dealing with someone under the age of 18. Someone under the age of 18 by law cannot consent. Anyone under the age of 18 years old cannot consent. Now keep that fresh on the top of your head. You're thinking about dealing with a minor, don't do it. Just don't do it unless you want to deal with some of this.
Being a new member in this building,
I think it's a disgrace.
It's evil.
Republican State Senator Shannon Grove, who originally pitched the concept last year, says the Assembly is now trying to honor a closed-door deal between her and the state Senate from last year. That deal allowed what's now state law to move forward. Last year, lawmakers made it a felony to purchase a child 15 years old and younger for sex, while allowing the purchase of 16 and 17-year-olds to be either a misdemeanor or felony. Grove says it was
So 16 and 17 could be either misdemeanor or a felony. Let's go.
more of an ultimatum.
It was either move forward with 15 and below or get nothing. And so the issue of protecting the 16 and 17-year-olds that we put forward in the bill, because everyone knows, if you asked anybody in California, they should be included in those protections against sex trafficking minors. They are minors. They're considered minors under any other circumstance. For it to come from the Senate just because they said so is completely evil. Just evil.
My perspective as chair is that there was a carefully negotiated deal last year.
New Assembly Public Safety Committee Chairman Nick Schultz is the one who ultimately made this latest decision.
The negotiation or the deal that I guess was struck between senators and Senator Grove last year to move her bill with the 15 years old and under forward, I mean, do you think like the regular average California voter, taxpayer, or even victim of this crime, like that would mean anything to them?
Here's what I think. I think the average taxpayer expects to be kept safe in the state of California. They also expect a justice system that is fair and equitable. That's what we try to do with the Public Safety Committee. I think whether you're talking about Senate Bill 1414 last year or Assembly Bill 379 this year, the reality is most people are not watching the day-to-day developments of these bills.
I've been doing this for 20 years.
And that's very important, to watch the day-to-day development of these bills, to understand what's going on legally, to understand the laws that's being passed in your state, understand the laws that's being passed in the nation. Don't get caught up in this. You need to know what's going on. Let's go.
And I'm not going to quit now. And I am going to bring this part of this bill back every year until I get the votes to protect children. That's what I'm going to do.
So Assemblyman Nick Schultz said later this fall he wants to hold informational hearings to go deeper on the 16 and 17-year-olds issue and come back in January with a new proposal. We should note there have been several hearings and discussions on this issue from last year, again when the idea was originally pitched, and Assemblymember Krell has said over and over again that the point of this is to make it so that the laws are consistent for traffickers and buyers, because those harsher penalties apply to traffickers who traffic children 18 and under. Right. And therefore, the law, she says, should apply to buyers, too, for that reason.
And so many other laws that apply to minors just in general. So there are other parts of Assemblymember Krell's bill that are going to move forward. What should we be looking for there?
Right, yeah, the hearing tomorrow will still allow parts of AB 379 to continue. Those parts include reinstating penalties for those who loiter for prostitution with the intent to purchase anyone. Those convicted would have to pay up to a $1,000 fine, and that money would then go into a fund for survivors. But again, those hearings later.
So part of the bill that did pass, if you're a John, aka a trick, aka a sex buyer, they're putting $1,000 penalties down in the state of California if you get caught loitering. Y'all got to be careful out here. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of laws that's changing. Pay attention. Pay attention.
This fall, we'll dissect that other issue. But ultimately, what we're seeing here is politics at play. The deal that, I guess, made this whole thing collapse.
All right. Well, we know you'll keep following it. We'll keep watching it with you.
Like she said, we know it's politics at play. There's a lot of political stuff going on with these laws. Okay, let's do a refresher or a reminder. What is sex trafficking federally? Sex trafficking is the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, obtaining, patronizing, or soliciting of a person for the purpose of a commercial sex act in which a commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such act has not attained 18 years of age. And that's 22 U.S.C. subsection 7102(11)(a). Anytime you see this right here, the sign, that means subsection. Let me let you get a close look at it. Looks like two S's connected together. That means subsection. So 22 U.S.C. is the law. And the subsections of the law is 7102(11)(a). So there's other ones. There might be a 7102(11)(b), 7102(11)(c, or 7102(10)(a). Hope y'all keeping up with that. Look into a Black's Law Dictionary. We have one sitting over here where we go over laws, terms, the legalese, the language of the law. Anyways, there it is right there. You get caught sex trafficking someone under age of 18, then you need to check out 22 U.S.C. subsection 7102(11)(a). Don't do it. We're going to keep leaving you with that message. If you're dealing with a minor or thinking about dealing with a minor, don't do it. It will potentially send you away for life in prison. Okay, let's move on.
Edie, this is an effort that was first...
Excuse me. Here we go.
In a major development and an issue that we've been following now for months, Governor Gavin Newsom is now getting involved firsthand in the latest fight over child sex trafficking here in our state. The governor's office is speaking up after lawmakers today blocked an effort to crack down on the buyer's side of the child sex trafficking industry. Thanks for being with us at 6. I'm going.
So in California, the governor is Governor Gavin Newsom. Let's see what he had to say about them blocking this bill. Let's go.
And I'm Edie Lambert. This specifically refers to those who buy 16 and 17-year-olds for sex. Let's get straight to our KCRA3 Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala, who, by the way, was the first to report the governor's involvement.
Edie, for the third time on this issue of child sex trafficking, Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing back against members of his own party. While trafficking a child is already a serious felony in California, Democrats right now are divided over a proposal to go after the consumers of the industry by making it an automatic felony to buy a 16 or 17-year-old for sex.
And they will be bringing this bill back up January 2026 to try to get this passed. I'm thinking that they will have it passed due to the fact that it's already federally passed. You deal with someone under the age of 18, you deal with a minor, you'll potentially get life in prison. Don't do it.
The governor signaling his support for the latest push to protect the teens.
This is the best bill that I can bring today.
As the Assembly Public Safety Committee stalls an effort to stiffen penalties for the buyers of the child sex trafficking industry, Governor Gavin Newsom's office is speaking out. The governor once again concerned that 16 and 17-year-olds are being left out of a state law that makes it an automatic felony to buy a child for sex. In a statement first provided to KCRA3 Tuesday, Newsom's office said the law should treat all sex predators who solicit minors the same, as a felony, regardless of the intended victim's age.
You hear that? The governor said the law should treat all sex predators who solicit minors the same as a felony, regardless of the intended victim's age.
Uh-oh.
Pay attention. You deal with somebody under 18s, they're going to throw the book at you. Don't do it. Don't make you a player. Makes you a pedophile. Let's get that straight. You deal with someone under the age of 18 years of age, that makes you a pedophile. It makes you a predator, a sexual predator who solicit minors. You see what they saying? That's what that makes you. You deal with somebody under the age of 18, you're a sexual predator, a pedophile. Let's go.
Full stop.
Schultz, aye.
The governor's involvement coming hours after this vote in the committee that agreed to move forward with Democratic Assemblymember Maggie Krell's bill targeting buyers, so long as the automatic felony for older teens was taken out. Krell has investigated these crimes for decades and was a prosecutor for the California Department of Justice. She's vowed to not give up.
I don't think we're doing enough to protect children from sex trafficking. I think that's pretty clear. It's clear from the survivors. It's clear from driving down to the Blade right now. There's 16 and 17-year-olds being sold for sex, and that's not okay, and we need to do more about it.
I agree with it. More needs to be done. There shouldn't be underage children on the track. There should not be underage children involved in sex work. And we don't care what you out there think about it. If you disagree with this, we don't care. It's wrong. Don't do it. It's wrong. Do not do it. Or potentially face life in prison. The choice is yours.
Driving down to the Blade right now, there's 16 and 17-year-olds being sold for sex, and that's not okay, and we need to do more about it.
Some Democrats on the committee worry how stiffer penalties for buyers overall would impact the LGBTQ community, people of color, and older teens in relationships with younger minors. Assemblyman Nick Schultz is the chairman of the committee. He wants to have an informational hearing on this later in the fall.
Why can't Democrats immediately get on board with something like this?
Yeah, so I would emphasize two things. First of all, the exploitation of any children, as we heard in the comments I made in the dais, it's already unlawful to do anything like that in the state of California. What we're talking about is a very specific, narrow issue of whether or not the stiff penalties that apply in, say, a human trafficking context should apply in a non-human trafficking context involving a 16 or 17-year-old. As you know, under Senate Bill 1414, which passed last year, that's a mandatory sex offender registration. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't at least entertain that conversation, but how that might apply to an 18 and 17-year-old in a relationship might be different from what we might see from what we think about people that are out here trying to get somebody off the blade and exploit them.
So his argument, this is what it sounds like. His argument is that he's not talking about the average adult. He's talking about someone the age of 18 or the age of 17 dealing with younger teens, like a 17-year-old dealing with a 16-year-old. This is what he's talking about. Take heed. It doesn't matter. If you are the age 18 or older and you deal with someone under the age of 18, you can potentially do life in prison if you're charged with sex trafficking. They might be having a debate in California and going back and forth for what they should do. Federally, you can face up to life in prison. Remember that. Take heed. Take heed.
Meanwhile, survivors and victims like Ashley are watching how this all unfolds.
Being in a room as a 16 and 17-year-old, not knowing who's going to come through the door to purchase you, not knowing if they're going to hurt you, if they're going to rape you, what their fetishes are. Like, that stuff is real concerns for 16 and 17-year-olds. So I'm grateful for the progress, but looking forward to new amendments and new bills coming in the future.
So going back to the governor's comments, those are consistent with what he's been saying on this issue. Lawmakers actually tried to do this last year, make it an automatic felony to purchase anyone 18 and under. He spoke out after the Senate's Public Safety Committee removed 16 and 17-year-olds from the law. In 2023, the governor had to get involved in a similar situation on a bill to make child sex trafficking a serious felony. The Assembly Public Safety Committee at the time blocked that, but then did a do-over after the governor spoke out. we'll see what happens this time now that, again, we're on time number 3.
Yeah, and the governor again getting involved. So what's been the reaction to the governor speaking up again on this?
Yeah, and that just happened a couple of hours ago, so we're still waiting for a lot of comments from folks. But the chairman of the Assembly Public Safety Committee, Nick Schultz, who you heard from earlier, he released a statement that, in part, invited the governor to the informational hearing he hopes to have later this fall. Again, we're waiting to hear back from the leader of the state assembly overall, Speaker Robert Rivas, on all of this. So it will be an interesting conversation between the leaders right now of the legislature and governor on this.
Yeah. All right, Ashley, thank you.
Well, you heard it right here in International Star Media, the Gold Star Standard, at the Gold Star Standard. Reactions, reviews, and news you can use. Once again, I am your host, International Yada, for the record saying the dollars. And hey, don't do it. It's not worth it. You see, they've been going through this out here in California, bringing this to the board since 2023, 2024, and now 2025. And again, January 2026, it will be up for debate again. Whether or not it will pass the law, we don't know. We'll wait and see. January 2026. My message to you is don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And we will see you on the next one.